Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Welcome to Oregon State University. Hey, come on, guys. I'm Dustin Campbell. This is Hannah Beveridge, and that's Russell Campbell. Hey, what are we doing here today, guys?
Well, we're excited to show you guys the natural history collections in the Fish and Wildlife Department here at Oregon State.
Yeah, we've got some awesome Oregon native species to show you. We've got fish, mammals, birds, and even some insects.
All right, let's get the show started. Come on in, guys. Hey, here we are in the ichthyology collection.
The what?
Ichthyology, it's the study of fishes. That means we're in the fish collection.
Yeah, we've got everything from the largest sharks to the smallest minnows. We've got native species, endangered species, dangerous species, you name it, we've got it.
Wow.
Oh, hey, what you got there?
Oh, this is a bull trout.
Oh, bull trout. That's a good example of a threatened species here in Oregon.
Why are they threatened, Hannah?
Well, like a lot of endangered and threatened fish species, they're threatened by habitat loss, non-native fish species, and the building of dams is a big one. So you can actually fish for bull trout in a lot of places, and what they'll say is, a lot of times you'll see it'll say no black, put it back, and that means on the dorsal fin here, if there's no black like you might see on a brook trout, then you put it back. In Oregon, it's easy to see bull trout on the Metolius River, where you'll often see people fly fishing for them. I've tried. It's hard.
Here we have another threatened species, the green sturgeon. And before we get ahead of ourselves, we should talk about a little bit of anatomy. So as you can see here, we've got most of the right side of the fish, and you can see under the fish, you can see its mouth. And this is because green sturgeon and sturgeon in general live near the bottom of the water column, near the substrate, the silt and dirt and rocks of their environment. And so their mouth is beneficial to be under them as they glide along the bottom of the lake that they're in. And this placement of the mouth is called an inferior position. So there's multiple different types of positions that a fish's mouth can be in, and this is considered inferior. Another thing that we can talk about is the gills of the fish. So if you can rotate it a little bit. So you can actually see the gills here. Gills are obviously what a fish uses to extract oxygen from the water. It's how they breathe. And there's actually a mechanism called countercurrent exchange where the water and the blood of the fish and the water of the environment actually pass by each other going in different directions. And this makes it so that the fish gets the optimum amount of oxygen from the water as they're traveling through it.
And here's another classic Oregon native, the Pacific lamprey. They are one of the oldest types of fishes. They're so old they don't even have jaws. These guys were around before fish formed jaws. And they use these mouth parts in interesting ways. So one way they do is they attach on to larger animals and they'll scrape them with their scraping teeth and suck their blood. They'll also use it to suction cup on rocks that allow them to climb up waterfalls. So they'll suction on and fling their body up and suction on to another rock and fling up to another rock until they pass on top of the waterfall. And that's why dams are a huge issue for lamprey, because dams don't have the surface that would allow them to grab on and climb up. And in order to fix that problem, that's why they started to add ladders to dams that would allow lamprey to climb up and pass through as they would to a natural barrier that would be a waterfall. And the fish ladder isn't only meant for the lamprey, it also helps a lot of other Oregon natives, which would be salmon and trout, migrate up the river. Alright guys, it's about time to head to the next collection. Come on! And here we are, in the Fish and Wildlife Bird and Mammal Collection. Here we have something that everybody should know, a beaver, along with a beaver skull.
Yes, this is the North American beaver. This is the Oregon State animal and the Oregon State University mascot. So the beaver is a semi-aquatic mammal that lives in what's called the riparian zone. which is the habitat that is right along a stream or a creek or any kind of waterway, freshwater waterway. So beavers are known pretty famously for the dams that they build.
And the beavers build these dams by biting down trees, and they do that with their very large incisors. And their incisors are constantly growing, which allow them to stay long and strong even though they're wearing them down when chewing down trees.
Yep, and they'll even choose trees to bite down that they know will fall over a stream, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, they're considered ecosystem engineers. They are some species. They are a species that will, change the habitat of the area by doing this behavior.
Historically, beavers were hunted for their pelts, but there was also a common misconception that they were destroying the forest ecosystems around these streams by chewing down all of the trees. So contrary to what people believed about them destroying ecosystems, as ecosystem engineers, they're actually really crucial for riparian health and stream health. Their dams create habitats for native fish species. Here we have some rainbow trout. And they create habitat for stream invertebrates. The impacts of a healthy stream actually reach far outside of the water. There are a ton of other species that rely on healthy fish populations and healthy invert populations.
Like these two bird species. We have a bald eagle and an osprey. Two iconic birds that are very important for riparian ecosystems and feed heavily on fish. We have the osprey, who is a very, very successful fish predator, and the bald eagle, while also they can catch fish as well, they're also very well known for their thieving habits of stealing fish from other birds that have caught them. Now here are two other bird species that heavily rely on a healthy riparian ecosystem. They actively hunt and obtain food from the water while they breed and live in that riparian zone at the water's edge.
Well, what are they?
Oh, we've got a belted kingfisher and an American dipper. The American dipper actually is the only songbird in North America that is considered at least semi-aquatic, where they will actually swim and dive underwater to catch and chase prey. And then the kingfisher dives headfirst into the water, catches fish, and actually they also will stun fish that they've captured in order to make it easier for them to swallow it.
And here we have two more semi-aquatic mammals.
This one's the river otter.
And this is an American mink.
So these mammals also rely on a healthy stream for their diets and a healthy riparian area for their habitats.
Also, these animals both have very dense fur, and it's very soft to the touch. And the reason why that's beneficial is because it assists them in kind of their keeping their heat and keeping dry. That dense fur is water resistant, and it also helps keep them very warm, so they don't get too cold spending a lot of their time in cold streams.
So here we have just a few of the animals that benefit from a healthy stream ecosystem and a healthy riparian zone. And the beaver here benefits all of them directly or indirectly from their role as ecosystem engineers.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed our virtual collection tour. I hope you learned something about the riparian ecosystem. You'll see Russell and I giving the live presentation of the collections here soon. I'm Dustin Campbell, this is Hannah Beveridge, and this is Russell Campbell. Thank you again.
Thank you.